Robstar Gang, what up? What up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button on your way in, on your way out. Happy Friday, TGIF. Thank God it is Friday. Mandatory minicamp wrapped up yesterday, so we're going to dive into really overall of the minicamp. We're going to dive into that today, mainly just talking about that. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the Jaire Alexander. I felt like I already talked about it once, but after the reports and everything I've been seeing with the Carolina Panthers, I just feel like we need to kind of rediscuss this. Okay. And we're going to dive out in the day. I'm also going to give you my top performers of the mandatory minicamp tonight as well. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, click that post notifications bell. It is all free and it takes about 3 clicks away from helping and supporting this channel more than you really honestly know. Okay. Become a member today if you'd like. You could be a member for 99 cents. You could be a member for $1.99, $2, $3, $4. I think it's up to $5, and that's it. So if you want to become a member of the Robstar Gang. It's linked in this description of this live stream. Also, feel free to become go through my links right there. That link will take you to my Facebook, my Instagram, my X, TikTok. We're blowing up on TikTok right now. Also Discord. Make sure you go join the Discord where I also post everything that we do. So, and also we have great discussions in there. All right. So again, appreciate you guys coming through tonight. And hey, let's kick off the weekend with some Carolina Panthers talk. And we got Marcos Cash in the chat. So guys, love to hear your thoughts as we go throughout tonight's live stream, man. So but other than that, without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so mandatory minicamp is wrapped up, and we just closed it out, and it was an interesting 3 days. Now training camp is next, right? Not just a camp. This is not just a camp full of kumbayas and growth minds, and growth mindset. It's about, this is where things really get gritty. High stakes roster showdowns, marked by, we got flaring tempers. We've seen a lot of defensive swagger this week. The head coach is dead set on making sure nobody takes the next 5 weeks off like it's a summer break. And we'll dive into each and every one of that. I'm going to break this thing down as raw as I can, and give you the reality of things and where we stand. First things first, the defense really took control of this mandatory minicamp, right? We were, after we got gashed in 2024 and setting an embarrassing NFL record, I have to continue to bring this up, ladies and gentlemen, because we allowed the most points in NFL history. That doesn't happen just by accident, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, 534 points, and yes, that's a real number. You can go look it up. Google's a wonderful thing. But we needed defense. We needed to show signs of life on this defense. And lately, I'll say this, mandatory, I know it's just minicamp, but we finally have seen a lot of that. We saw a lot of that really on Thursday, right? Like, for example, we saw free agent linebacker Christian Roseboom, who's been playing lights out. He has been playing like he has no plans to just be a 1-year rental, which I love. The defense brought the heat. I don't know if you saw it, but Roseboom batted down multiple passes. I don't know if you heard the reports during the 11-on-11s, including one of them almost became a turnover, if not for rookie defensive back Isaiah Gifford just missing the diving grab, just barely. There's a clip out there of it, but X is a wonderful thing, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you get on X, follow, everybody you can, whether it's a beat writer, whoever. This is where you get all the information. I'm just giving it to you and giving you my thoughts on it, right? Um, the defense really followed his lead, right? From reports were saying, and he was breaking up passes, swarming, ball carriers, they playing like an absolute unit. And this was a unit that was embarrassed by last season historic failures, Mike Jackson, I think a lot of people, for me, I think he's serviceable at best. Maybe he's flying under the radar. Maybe I'm being a little bit too particular, or maybe I'm being not fair, I guess you could say. I know he's a veteran, but he got the last word with the interception in the flat off of Bryce Young and turned it into basically a pick six for the defense. It wasn't that was really the exclamation point on a session where the offense, despite they had an early week surge, but then on Thursday they really got bodied. Like the defense really stepped up Thursday. But the offense started out strong this time around. So, but the defense finished the job. You know what I mean? They really finished the job this week in the mandatory minicamp. But minicamps, the fact that we're seeing some chirping, and it finally it arrived on schedule. Like I'm glad to see this team chirp at one another. It's not minicamp without some testosterone fueled skirmishes, because this one came, of two long shot roster hopefuls. One was the 6'5" offensive lineman, Brandon Walton, and then you had the 265-pound edge rusher, Thomas Income, who got tangled up after Trevor Etienne touchdown reception from Andy Dalton. We also saw Bryce and JC Horn going at it. Apparently Adam Thielen, JC Horn going at it. So there's a lot of chirping out there. There was a lot of and with the whole Brandon Walton and Thomas Income base were grabbed, words were exchanged. It's a full team huddle of chaos. Then that was just, and then just minutes later, Income goes back out there. He came out there with a statement. He had a tackle for a loss to remind everyone he's here to play. That's the shit that I love to hear. That's the shit that I want to hear, because there is a new energy here in Carolina. We have not heard or seen the chippiness as much as I feel like we've heard it from this mandatory minicamp. As much as this is what I want to hear. I want this team to have a fire up its ass, because 7-8 losing seasons straight and no playoff appearances since, good Lord, we haven't had a playoff appearance since what? 2017, 2018, whatever it is. And so to hear the chirpiness, to hear that these guys are going at each other, talking that shit, knocking each other's heads, it's a total different culture, total different ball game than we've seen in years past, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Jack will be better in this defense year too. We'll see. I'm hoping so. You know what I mean? I'm hoping so. Just wait until joint practice. I know. I'm looking forward to it. To be honest with you, I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about Bryce Young. You can't go through mandatory minicamp, of course, without talking about your quarterback. There was a lot from from what I've seen, clips and of course reports, and what I'm just kind of taking in from what I can know of and what I from my standpoint, right? Um, there was moments of promise for Bryce, but you got to remember this guy's. There's still a lot of under pressure. I would say under a lot of pressure. Like you're talking about a guy who's in his third year who had a mixed minicamp. You know, his Wednesday was really efficient, very explosive. His Thursday, not so much. We saw batted balls, tight windows, really defined that the day, interceptions. So not ideal, but again, also not panic mode. And to be fair, he's operating without his full arsenal, and I'm not going to knock it, but knock him too much. But T Max was sidelined, banged knees, and then or he banged knees with a defender, right? And then you got sixth round pick Jimmy Horn Jr. nursing a hamstring. Still, the urgency here is that as long as Bryce is building chemistry with those guys right now, it's the offseason. That's all that matters to me, right? The urgency for him to level up is still there, as in going into year 3 and proving that he's the franchise guy, right? But we need him to be the franchise guy if we want to escape that NFL basement. But his Wednesday knocked it out the park, looked very good. Thursday, not so much. So again, mixed bag, but again, it's just the offseason. I'm not going to knock him too much. But yeah, not too bad. Still a lot of promise. All right, a lot of promise. Bryce has to start out strong, or else. Yep. Marcos, again, I told y'all this year, I'm giving Bryce Young to the middle of November. I'm going to give him to the middle of November. So it's basically I've given him 2.5 years. So basically, I'm giving him to the middle of November to prove to me he's the guy. I'm not going to give him the whole year because I need him to start out strong. I can't have a 2-game Bryce where he shits the bed and then decides to just all of a sudden the last 12 weeks become an absolute animal. No. I need him to come out like what I saw the last 12 weeks in the first 12 weeks. Can't wait to see T-Mac versus JC. Absolutely. What's up, Panthers boy 803? Appreciate you coming. 3 games max. I'm giving him till November. I'm giving him till November. All right, rookie class looked sharp, looked in sync. From what I could tell, Dave Canales didn't hide his admiration for the rookies, calling them one of the most prepared professional groups he's worked with, which is, great sign, right? From their training habits to their curiosity in the film room, he says they've got the veteran mindset, which is awesome to hear. Rare for a bunch of kids out of college, right? You got a lot of former Gators here. You got Umami Yellen, who was a former Gator. You got Trevor Etienne, and you got Cam Jackson, Michael Torkin. Have brought this brothership into the Carolina Panthers building, but they shared paths. Seems to be building bridges across the locker room. Amami Allen even notched a would-be sack during drills, and that's a statement, man. I think Umami Allen is a much younger Josh Sweat, right? That's who Amami Allen reminds me of, right? So Like that's who he reminds me of. You know how everybody in the Panthers offseason, they wanted Josh Sweat. You got him. Right? You got him, but I don't know what, 10 years younger or how much. I don't know how much younger he is. I don't know how much younger Iman Emelin is compared to Josh Sweat. I can't remember a better draft tomorrow, I'll be honest. They hit on everything, right? Right? We have a good core group this year. Absolutely. We absolutely do. We absolutely do. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, if you're watching on a different platform, please come on over to the YouTube channel. That's the best way you can show your support here to this live stream and to this channel. All right. Clay Smith comes in on X. I haven't had a lot of people talk to me. MJ so you're talking about MJ Doverson. He was I think he was an undrafted. He's went to college at Pitt. I think he went undrafted. The Raiders got him. And did we sign him to the practice squad last year? Or we signed him this offseason as a I'm trying to remember how we got a hold of him. But yeah, MJ Devonshire. Listen, I have nothing but really good things to say about him. I mean, he had a great OTA. It's interesting. I mean, we could be sleeping on MJ Dovershire. He had a great OTAs. He could end up being a sleeper, right? He that's what he was. He was a waiver wire pickup. Because he wasn't part of a really flashy draft class when he came out. When he came out of Pittsburgh, right? But again, Evero likes those guys like MJ Doverson that are, 5'11", got a big ass wingspan. You know what I mean? Got a big ass wingspan. And because I think he's got like 33-inch wings, arms or something crazy. So he's remarkably long for his size. He went up. I saw a couple plays where he went up against T-Mac and he locked him down because of the link. That kind of link doesn't show up in measurements. It shows up in deflected passes, disrupting timing. And we've seen a lot of that from him. He could end up being more than a camp body, right? I'm not going to say that he's going to make this roster yet. I'm not sure. I think we need to see how training camp goes, preseason, all that good stuff. But he's a guy that shows up, he competes, and he's one of the guys who has stood out to me a little bit lately. So as far as I'm concerned, I like him. He's just got to make the most of his opportunity. For him, he is also going to be going up against guys like, T-Mac and Leggett, which aren't any small assignments. So could benefit him in the long run. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I want to wait until that's what it was. I knew he's a waiver wire, I just couldn't remember. But yeah, we'll see where he goes, Clay. I just want to see how he progresses as we go through training camp and the preseason, because as of right now, he did look good in OTAs. Didn't hear much about him in mandatory minicamp, but OTAs for sure. What's up, Eric? Appreciate you coming through, brother. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, guys, if you are just tuning in, the best way to show your support is come on over to the YouTube channel. The link is in my bio. on X or Twitch. Okay. So the best way to show your support is come on our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, click that post notifications bell. It's all for free and it only takes you about 3 seconds. All right. Hunter Renfrow. We're talking. Let me just tell you something right now. Hunter Renfrow is going to make this roster. Hunter Renfrow is going to make this roster, and he's going to be one of the most productive guys we'll see this year. Mark my words. He might not gain 1,000 yards. I could see him being a guy where he gets 600 to 700 yards, and he scores 6 to 7 touchdowns. He's still going to be a red zone threat. He's still going to be that guy that can get you out of those third down situations and turn them into first downs. I know he took a year off on that ulcerative colitis. He was a Raider standout. He was a Pro Bowler for a reason. He had 1,000 yards. I think he still got it. I've watched him play. I've watched a lot of clips as of OTAs and mandatory minicamp and all that good stuff. He's left defenders and blenders, and he's hauled in deep shot. He did that with Andy Dalton, one of the most explosive moments of the day. Again, he is a smooth, savvy veteran, very reliable. I can tell you right now, Hunter Renfrow is going to carve out a nice role for himself on this offense. Okay? Derwin James did not come out and say Hunter Renfrow is that guy. And you know what interview I'm talking about with Ryan Clark and on their show, The Pivot. I think it was on The Pivot at the time. But Derwin James is one of the best safeties in the league. And a guy like that doesn't just say that. Okay? All right? You can and Canales even put it in other words. He came out and said, you can coach it all you want, but what he brings, you just have to see to get it. Which means the kid's got God-given talent, and that shit is just you can't teach. He might look like a 45-year-old man out there, but he's going to cook your ass one way or another. Adam, XL, T-Mac, Coker, Renfrow Jr. Good luck second games. I love it, Palmetto Panther. Y'all smack that like button for Clay. 100%. Appreciate it. Hey, Clay, do you think we need to pick up any more defensive players? If so, where at? Well, I'm going to dive more into that probably as we're going to talk about position battles going into training camp coming up. We're going to talk about some free agents, not tonight, but like as coming weeks coming. We're going to dive into some free agents that we can target again. But to give you just a brief of what I think we need to do, I still think that we need to look at bringing in someone. I wouldn't mind bringing maybe another linebacker in just to add some more depth, but mainly the secondary. I'd like to bring in another safety. I'd like to bring in another corner because here's the thing. If Mike Jackson or by chance J.C. Horn goes down, you're going to rely on Charles Smith-Wade, Akalek Evans or whatever his name is, MJ Dovenshire. Let's say MJ makes the roster. MJ Dovenshire. Is there somebody else I'm missing? Probably so. But are you going to rely on that? But just by chance? I truly think we need a Ramsey or Jaire Alexander on this team. Just in case one of those guys go down. I seriously do. Charles Smith-Wade has had a hell of an OTA, has had a hell of a mandatory minicamp. He has made a lot of plays. And even J.C. Horn has came out and said that this guy works his ass off and could be, one of, if not a guy that we can rely on. And he's out there, telling people where they need to be, telling where the defenders need to be. and Chow, so Chow's doing his thing. But again, I need to see it in live action before not just in OTAs, not in just training camp. I need to see it when the pads are on and November comes around and one of those guys, that's what I need. Right? That's what I need. Yep. Everybody will say linebacker. I mean, Roseboom looks good, ladies and gentlemen. I can't lie about that. And we're talking about a guy who had like over 100 and something tackles last year as a linebacker or something crazy like that. So Roseboom looks good. But I don't know if I'm ready to say, you know, I'm okay. I'm okay with just Roseboom, Joel, Wallace, and those guys. Just not. But we'll dive, SC Panthers boy. We're going to dive more into that as we get closer to training camp. We're going to be diving in a bunch of different position groups, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of content coming out. Trust me, it's coming. It is coming. It's just root beer, by the way. It's just root beer, by the way. I'm trying to find it. Let's see what else. I'm going to get to some more of your comments here. Injuries. Hunter's definitely going to be a sleeper. Adam definitely replacement if we can keep him, which I hope we do. I'll take Jaire all day. He's only 28. The problem is with Jaire is again, it's the same question we've had with JC Horn. Can he stay healthy? Because in the past 2 seasons, he's only played 14 games. That's the biggest thing with Jaire. Yep. Remember when Steve Wilkes said that CJ Henderson was a highlight of camp? So been really iffy since. Exactly. Like you can't that, and that's so funny. Kendall brings that up because it's like you can't rely on everything these guys say. That's why I'm saying, like, yeah, Charles Smith Wade and all these the coaches and even JC Horn is hyping him up, but Kendall makes a great point because I do remember when Steve Wilkes was like, yeah, CJ Henderson is him, and it was making him out to be like the next best thing since sliced bread. And I'm just like, when I watched him in those games, I'm like, damn, he's getting absolutely cooked. There was not a time I thought, man, CJ Henderson made a great play. I don't know if I've ever even said that through the time he was here. Well, Roseman was also a rotational guy, Palmetto Panthers. So he wasn't a guy that was who was a starter for the Rams last year. He was a rotational linebacker. So I can't really go off his PFF grades because he wasn't constantly on the field enough. But we'll see. Okay, Clay, appreciate you, man. Yep, got you. Alexander Miss. Yeah, you'd have to look it up, Marcos. I'm not sure. You'd have to look it up for me. Yeah, we definitely need to pump the brakes on that. Listen, if Charles Smith Wade, if the height ends up being real, okay, great. I'm all for it. All right. I am all for it for sure. But I need to see it in action. I'm tired of like all these hype trains. And then we get into the season and then we're like, and then it's like, what the hell happened between training camp and preseason? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right, let's move on. Receiver room. This receiver room, the talent is rich. I'll say that. But this roster is so tight. Like the wide receiver battle is going to be so interesting during training camp. This is going to be one of the ones I'm going to be like definitely looking into. You got Thielen, McMillan, Leggett, I think those guys are locks. I think it ends up leaving 3 spots. It's going to be 6 wide receivers. I don't think they're keeping 7. I think it's 6, which again, and if it may be 4, but the only way I'm saying if it's 4 is if someone absolutely just blows it out the park on special teams. Like you have to be like prime Tyreek Cohen off the special teams or like Devin Hester. I just don't see it. I think 6 is the right number for this wide receiver group. I seriously do. I've already said that Renfrow is a contender. Okay? And I think he still is. I don't think David Moore is a contender. I think David Moore is one of those ones who's going to get cut. I think Dan Chesnia, who had a great 20-yard catch, by the way, on Thursday. But I don't think he makes the cut either. Jalen Coker's making this roster. He looks faster. He looks stronger, too. Jimmy Horn Jr. is making this roster because he's going to end up being the speed demon we all been waiting for, and then he's going to be a special teams expert. But, man, even on this practice squad, like Jacoby and Kobe Hudson and those guys, we're going to have some dudes on that practice squad, and especially in that wide receiver room. But like even like Dave Canales came out and said, if you're not helping on special teams, don't get too comfy. Like he even said it, like if it's even the special teamer makes the team, he said, you're not just here to catch passes. We need you to, obviously contribute. And he came out and said that. You know what I mean? Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss any new content. Also, if you're on the X or if you're on the Twitch, come on over to the YouTube channel. Again, the link is in my bio. It'll take you right to it. It takes about 2 seconds. And just come on over and like and subscribe. It would help me out tremendously, okay? Bless me this Friday by doing that and come on over to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. All right. What's your 53-man roster room, Clay? Right now, and I'm not going to put it in no particular order. I think it's Thielen, T-Mac, Leggett, Coker, Renfrow, Horn. I think that's a strong 53-man roster wide receiver room. You get 2 veterans who are reliable, get you out of trouble, and Thielen and Renfrow. You got T-Mac, who is just going to be, he's going to be your wide receiver 1. He's going to be the guy that can go up and get it. He's also going to open up the middle of the field because of his athleticism, his height, but also the route running is smooth, and he continues to work on it. Again, I wasn't high on him because I thought his route running wasn't as elite as some of these other guys in this draft class, but he is still proven, that the route running is still very polished. Okay. As for Leggett looks bigger, stronger, faster. He's also, when you watch his clips, guys, and by the way, make sure you go watch some clips on X. I'm tired of these people saying that Leggett does not have any hands. Go watch his clips. All of his clips right now, he's catching every ball with his hands, not his body, which he was doing a lot last year, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just stop this narrative that he can't catch the ball, because he's catching it all with his hands. If you go watch actually some fucking highlights and film, okay? And then, so that's 4. And then you got Jalen Coker. Again, I think he can play the slot. He can play outside. He's big. He's fast. Great route running. He knows how to get open. He can create separation. Jalen Coker just does everything right. Ever since he's gotten here, he's done everything right. And then you got Jimmy Horn Jr., who's going to end up being a guy who's going to be a special teamer, but he's also can be a guy that you could just throw a quick slant to, and he's gone for the races. With that explosiveness, he's going to that creates a lot of mismatches. It creates a lot of just unknowns, but so much potential. I think with that roster, with that 53-man roster, you have so much to work with. That's my 53-man roster wide receiver room. Renfrow versus Moore. Renfrow's cooking Moore all day. Renfrow doesn't drop passes. Renfrow gets open. Renfrow's a better wide receiver than David Moore has ever been. Because I can tell you right now, I don't think David Moore has ever had 1,000 yards in a season. And it was also a Pro Bowler. Again, my no particular order. My wide receiver room is T-Mac, Leggett, Thielen, Renfrow, Coker, Jimmy Horn Jr. There's so much potential there, but so much to work with and a lot of mismatches. Can other teams sign your PA? Yes, they can. They can. Happy early Father's Day, Clay. Appreciate you, Corey. Appreciate you. Yep, Father's Day. It's on Sunday. It's just going to relax, man. Father's Day for me, I just want to relax. I want to chill, kick my feet up. I'm probably going to watch a lot of college baseball this weekend, probably watch some NBA finals, probably watch some hockey, probably watch the US Open as well. Just going to kick back, relax. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. Appreciate it. We really have depth at wide receiver for now, the first time in probably 15 years. I seriously don't know how to act right now. Who are you talking about, Rock Jones? Which one? Who are you talking about? His route running is yet to be determined against NFL corners. Who exactly? Which wide receiver are you talking about? Curious. A lot of emphasis on hands catching this season. Not mad at it. Exactly. Yeah, Leggett last year, his problem wasn't creating separation last year. His problem was holding on to the football. Oh, thank you, brother. God bless yourself, man. God bless yourself. I appreciate that. Happy Father's Day. Appreciate that. Yeah, anybody in here is a father. Happy Father's Day. You know, happy Father's Day weekend. I hope it's a nice weekend for you and your family. Sleeper Madden team this year. Oh, Corey Johnson's coming in. Sleeper Madden team, like if we're playing Madden and you're using them like online or what? Oh, are you saying the Carolina Panthers are a sleeper Madden team? Could be. I mean, I can't wait till the damn game comes out. I'm still like on year 4 of my rebuild of my Panthers franchise, which I was able to get our draft class in it, by the way. So I was able to like actually do a rebuild with the actual draft class in it. So I've been doing a lot of that. I don't play a lot of competitive Madden. I do a lot. I like to rebuild franchises. That's what I like to do. I like to rebuild, and do all that. I'm more like, if I was like to compare myself as a Madden player, I'm more like, Brant Tillis and Dan Morgan. Like I want to rebuild and set up the team for success and do the contracts and all that stuff. And then I'll play the games, which I still play on all Madden, but I'm nowhere compared to if you watch like TD Barrett or um who else is a good Madden YouTuber or somebody. Like I'm not like those guys. I don't compete. I probably could. I just don't. You're talking about Jimmy Horn Jr., Rock. He's making the roster, dude. He's making the roster. I can tell you right now, he's making the roster over David Moore. He's making the roster over any of the other guys in this wide receiver room. Besides the other 5 I mentioned. He won't be over those guys, but he's making it. Miss Rand Douglas comes in and says, Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers. Appreciate you, Miss Rand. Appreciate you coming through. Hope you're having a beautiful Friday evening, and God bless. God bless all of you. You can't use him until they fix Bryce's stats. He's unusable. Nah, man, Palmetto Panther. I got him at a superstar dev right now. I almost got him at an X Factor. I'm close to getting him at an X Factor at this point. I think I'm only 12 games into my year 4 rebuild, and he's got over 3,700 yards, 32 touchdowns, only 9 picks. So I'm cooking with Bryce right now. I almost got him at an X Factor. So you just got to know what you're doing, man. You just got to know what you're doing. Now, using them competitively, different story for sure. All right, let's dive into some other stuff. Veterans rise, rookie recall. A lot of veterans returned after, obviously, there was a lot of guys who took Wednesday off. J.C. Horn, Adam Thielen were among those guys. Derek Brown is easing his way back in, missing 2024 with obviously his knee injury. He's, targeting training camp with that loaded manager return. I know that a lot of people are saying, they're worried because he came out and said he's just trying to get back to football shape. What do you expect from a guy who's coming off the knee injury that he had? He's going to have to get himself back into football shape, but he's also can't overdo it. Again, I think that if Derek Brown, to me, if he's not ready by training camp and he's not ready by week 1, I'm fine with that. I'd rather him be 100. I don't care how long it takes. I'd rather him be 100%. I think he'll be ready by week 2. That's my prediction. People may not like that, but it's better safe than sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I think he'll be fine, though, Rock. I think he'll be fine. Play online. I play online. Yeah, I should play online more, Palmetto Panther. I should. I'd probably be a lot better Madden player, but I just don't. I really enjoy really doing rebuilds, and I don't just rebuild the Panthers. I think I've almost done every team at least once in Madden, and did I tried to do a 5-year rebuild, win a Super Bowl, and if I win, more than one Super Bowl in that rebuild, fine. Yeah. But I think here's the thing. I think he'll be back by no later than week 2. I'd rather him be 100% than return back in that knee. Then he fucks up his knee even more. Other guys that were out, Tommy Trimble, Amari Barno, Jimmy Horn, they all sat out on Thursday. JJ Jansen and Matthew Wright were both excused. Nick Scott showed up apparently late and then just watched from the sideline, apparently. So, last but not least, let's talk about Dave Canales. He had a nice message for these guys, and I'm glad that he said something like this. His closing message to the team was, to his team wasn't it was what I want my coach to tell these players on this next 5 weeks until we have training camp. Because training camp isn't where you get in shape. You need to be showing up in shape at training camp. So he reminded that players like this is that they're already on their vacation. The next 5 weeks aren't for margaritas and cruise ships. All right. Like you had 3 months off, you know, and it's just like he said, you had that time to reload, you had that time to ramp back up. Don't waste what you've already built. His ideal, he said 3-day weekends, 4 days of real training each week. And that's the thing. These guys need to do that. They need to come in locked and loaded and ready to earn their spot. And they need to come in with a lot of fight because I'm not going to, I don't want, we don't want any of these guys coming back and they're out of shape. It just sets the whole team back. It sets that whole position group back. So again, I'm not worried that these guys are not going to come in shape. I'm not really, I don't think there's a particular player that comes in my head that's like, I'm worried it's not going to come in shape, but these guys need to stay hungry because this is the time where you need to stay hungry, right? So, but yeah, that's your rookie, or not your rookie, but that was your mandatory minicamp recap. But let me give you these are my top 5 standouts. These are my top 5 standouts from from the mandatory minicamp. First up to me again, I thought Hunter Renfrow, his stock is up. You know, I thought his stock was obvious. I thought his stock was completely tanked when he, missed the 2024 season due to that illness, right? But when he completely fell off the Las Vegas Raiders radar. And it wasn't clear if he'd even ever get another shot. So they gave him one, Panthers give him one, which is great. Renfrow, is taking the gamble for himself personally. And at minicamp, he's looked every bit like the Pro Bowl slot assassin that he wasn't in Oakland. And yes, in Oakland, he was there when it was the Oakland Raiders right before they moved to Las Vegas. But again, I told y'all this. His routes are sharp, man. He is going to be a red zone threat, and he's going to be a third down machine. He's got sticky hands, his ability to find soft spots in coverage. He can read defenses very well. He's going to be an immediate asset for Bryce Young. Again, we're talking, Bryce Young needs Adam Thielen. I think T-Mac's going to be a reliable target. I think all of our wide receiver room is stacked. I don't think he's going to have that problem this year. But you also want to have those safety blankets. And it's better to have 2 safety blankets instead of 1. Right? So, I just think Renfrow is that guy. I think Renfrow is that guy. I do. Jadeveon Sanders. A lot of people haven't talked about him, but he has been very, very quiet, sneaky good this mandatory minicamp, right? We've always been talking about that curse of there's always like been the funny saying, the curse of Greg Olsen, right? But it could possibly be answered with Bryce Young. I mean, not Bryce Young, Jadeveon Sanders. Sorry. He could be that guy. Like, he showed a lot of promise last year, in my opinion. He led the tight ends in yards. He's got very good hands, very solid after the catch ability, right? He's coming into his year 2, obviously something to prove. Obviously, he's spent a lot of offseason transforming his body, which it shows, right? He's leaner, he's quicker, he's more explosive. He looks like a legit tight end 1. I'm actually excited to see Jadeveon Sanders this year. Okay. All right. He's not a guy that just he's not just a guy that's catching the occasional dump off, And then you've got Tommy Tremble sideline. You got Mitchell Evans, who's still trying to figure out where he's going to be in the locker room. I think Mitchell Evans is a sleeper for me too. Right. We might have a nice 1-2 punch right there with Sanders and him. right? But Sanders took every rep. You know, like he's definitely looks like he's trying to audition himself for a breakout campaign, right? He won a lot of matchup. He's blocking better. He's running cleaner routes. He's clearly got the trust of this coaching staff, right? There's no time to waste on maybe players anymore in Carolina. I don't have it anymore. I think if Sanders is one of those guys, if he just stays healthy, he's going to continue to develop. He's going to be an absolute weapon. All right. I really think Jadeveon Sanders is a guy who's going to be an absolute asset in this offense. Again, I'm going to bring up a guy we talked about earlier, Chau Smith-Wade. Again, he's been getting a lot of hype, but again, he's been doing his thing. But now he's a second year corner. He didn't just look good at minicamp. I'll say this. He looked like he belonged in the starting conversation. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, again, it's just mandatory minicamp. It's a lot of hype. I know we were talking about that earlier. I still feel like we need a veteran in there still, but just in case of injuries. But you got JC Horn hyping him up. You got Dave Canales hyping him up. Coaches, they're all coming out, hyping his communication skills, his positioning, his ability to elevate guys around him, put guys in position, be a vocal leader on this defense. If he's doing that, and you got JC Horn even calling him the best play in early practices, and Horn's not exactly throwing out compliments like it's Halloween candy. He does, you know what I mean? But like, he still has plenty of tape to put together. I think Smith-Wade does. He needs to tighten up his man coverage from last year. He's got to get stickier on the deep routes and prove he can be an asset against the run, of course. Again, if I want to not worry about this secondary, right, I need Smith-Wade to take a leap forward. Okay? And right now, from everything we're seeing and from reports we're getting, he's doing what he needs to be doing. And he could end up being that guy. Another one, Tre'von Moehrig. I'm probably the biggest Tre'von Moehrig fan. He was my favorite signing all offseason. Just because of his tape alone, man. I went and watched his tape, his Raider tape. It just, dude. You remember how we had Jeremy, and I said this the other day. You remember how we had Jeremy Chin? And when of course, he was a third-round pick out of a no-name college, but the tape jumped off. And we were hoping that he was going to be, that guy at his position, the hybrid role, that hybrid safety role, the guy that could play linebacker, could play nickel, could play, deep safety, right? Tre'von Moehrig is that guy. Jeremy Chin was supposed to be what Tre'von Moehrig's going to be here in Carolina. Like Tre'von Moehrig was already that really in with the Raiders. He's going to prove to you what Jeremy Chin was supposed to be. Okay? Remember, again, last year, we allowed the most rushing yards. We allowed the most points in any team in the NFL history last season. And we needed an identity. Moehrig will be that one of those guys that gives us that. Because of the experience he brings, the leadership, the chip on his shoulders, he is going to be one of those guys that raise this bar on this defense. He's vocal. He's sharp, aggressive. He's already mentoring Damani, Lathan Ransom. He's clearly operating like a coach on the field too, and that matters, especially for these young guys, right? I think he's going to be one of those guys that just locks down his half of the field, and he's going to show up when it counts, especially in the run game. And I still think he's going to be able to. They're going to be able to do what I think Evero is going to be able to use him in any and every way he wants to, and Mobrig's going to do his job the way it's supposed to be done. He's my favorite. He's my favorite signing of this offseason. And then, of course, last but not least, Bryce Young. He's a different quarterback. It's a different year. He's a different dude this year. Again, him being benched after those 2 games last year obviously lit a fire on him. I definitely feel like he's carrying himself like a guy who obviously remembers he was, once a number 1 overall pick and wants everyone else to remember too. He's had a nice presence at minicamp. He's out there not just throwing dimes, but which he did plenty of, but he's commanding the huddle. He's owning the tempo. He looked like a leader than a passenger. He's also being obviously talking shit back to, JC Horn, like we heard the other day. Great. I think there's a key difference here. Confidence. Last year, he looked like a rookie stuck in headlights again. And it's because of a broken system he was under with Frank Wright. Now he looks like a guy who knows the playbook, trusts his line, and is ready to sling it. We saw that in the last 12 of the weeks of the last year. Again, I think that's has to do with part of Canales because of his arrival. It's obviously clearly helped. Young finally has a scheme stability, right? His body language, his footwork, his decisiveness, it's all night and day from what we saw, right? In his first year and then the first 2 games of last season. Now, I'll say this, Bryce still has a mountain to climb. He has to justify that trade that cost us our mortgage, right? If this is the Bryce Young we're getting in 2025, I'm going to say this, then maybe we have actually found that franchise guy. That's all I'm going to say to that. That's all I'm going to say to that. All right. Let's move on. Last but not least, I'm going to say this. I think Carolina is going to make a move before training camp starts. And if the next move is anything, I think it's obvious you got to sign this guy. I think that Dan Morgan should have made this call the other day. He should have made a call the other day. Right? I think this quarterback room right now is serviceable. I don't think it's scaring anyone. And if Carolina is even pretending to take 2025 seriously, it's time to stop gambling on a lot of potential and start investing in proven talent. Again, JC Horns look good. That's never been his problem. His problem, obviously, for JC has been staying on the field. Mike Jackson, solid CB2. Again, nothing more, nothing less. Chalmers Smith-Wade, again, we're hearing and seeing a lot of promise, but again, it's still unproven. Shamar Bartholomew, jury's out. We've seen this play out before. Young guys with upside in June, and then by November, fans are Googling top 10 corners in the 2025 NFL draft. That's what happens in these situations. That's what happens in these situations. We're not in any position, ladies and gentlemen, to rely on maybes. We need sure things, or at least as close as we can to what the NFL allows the sure things, right? You know, you got a guy right here who's fresh off being released. You know, he's had back-to-back injury seasons. Like, I get it. But he is also one of the most intriguing free agents on the market because Green Bay obviously couldn't find a trade partner for him because they bloated up his contract. But that's just the business. I'll say this, Jaire Alexander, when he's healthy, isn't just good. He's elite. You're talking about a guy who's a two-time Pro Bowler. He's got shutdown capabilities, swagger for days. He's a guy that Carolina needs in the secondary because of the credibility he brings. Because let's not ignore the obvious here. He's a Charlotte native. Hello. And if there's ever a moment for a homecoming and ball out narrative, this is one. I mean, the stars are kind of just aligned I think. Like, now, here's the thing. Now, someone needs to grow a set of balls and just pick up the damn phone, in my opinion, and make this call. But I'll say this. There's two cases for Jaire Alexander. I'll give you the first case, okay? Injuries. He missed a chunk of past 2 seasons. Nobody wants to pay top dollar for someone whose cleats spend more time in a training room than on the grass. With that being said, you know, we've already have been betting on J.C. Horn, who's made just 22 appearances in the last 3 years. And he's one more injury prone. But here's the thing. But what's one more injury prone stud at this point? And again, I don't think we're going to have to pay top dollar for him. I think it's a 1-year prove it deal, probably between $14 to $16 million. Okay. Again, and that's the second thing. It's about the money. He's not going to come cheap. If he wants a fat contract from a playoff team, again, Carolina is going to be out. Okay. But if he wants to reset his market value, reestablish himself as one of the league's top corners, and do it in his hometown, then the Panthers should be in his top 3. You know, offer a front-loaded incentive-heavy deal, prove it, money, upside, right? That kind of deal that says, we believe in you, but we're also like, we're not stupid. That's why I think a 1-year deal between 14 to 16 million is feasible. Again, I don't think our team is going to be contenders this year. Again, I think we're an 8-9 win team. Okay, we're still rebuilding. You know, you want to surround your team with young guys around Bryce Young, right? You know, but we got to fix this secondary so we're not bleeding points every Sunday. I think if you add a guy like Jaire Alexander, ladies and gentlemen, this team isn't content at floating at the bottom of the NFC South waiting for 2026. That's that type of message. It says Dan Morgan and Dave Canales are serious about culture, defense, and giving their roster something it sorely lacks. Leadership who've actually been to the dance. I think this is this is one that you got to take a shot on. I do. There's already been 6 teams that have already called for this guy, according to Josina Anderson on X. So whether the Panthers are among the teams that's anybody's guess. If they're not, then we're wasting our time. You got to sometimes take calculated risk and gambles, and Carolina can afford to take, but they also can't afford to miss. Fair. But the upside again is a top 5 corner who changes your entire defense. The downside, you swing at fixing a glaring problem and you miss, and at least you tried, and you did it on a 1-year deal, $14 to $16 million. Okay, I think you make that type of call. I think you make this type of move, right, and you give him that type of offer. And I think I could see him signing for a 1 year between that range. I mean, we would could you imagine having Jaire Alexander and JC Horn? Ramsey, I'm okay with it too. But I think that you could get Jaire for much cheaper, and he's younger. I get the whole injury. I get it. I get it. But you could get him getting him for a 1 year, $14 to $16 million deal. He stays healthy. Then you re-sign him. I think it's I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's a perfect fit, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I wanted Jermaine Pratt, but he got signed to Las Vegas on a $4 million deal. Crazy. That would have been a North Carolina native would have fit right into this linebacker room. Then grab Blackman. Yeah, it all depends on how much cap space we would have after we sign Jaire. And here's the thing. Jaire Alexander, Blackman could still be on the table for all we know. I just think in the next 5 weeks before training camp starts, I think Carolina's going to make a move, whether it's Jaire, whether it's Jalen Ramsey, whether it's Julian Blackman, whether it's even maybe Marcus Williams. Who knows? So, man, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. We broke down the mandatory minicamp. Gave you my takeaways, gave you my top 5 performers. We talked about Jaire Alexander. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's live stream. Again, if you did, make sure you pound that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on X or Twitch, make sure you come on over to the YouTube channel. That's the best way to show your support by coming over here, liking and subscribing, clicking that post notifications bell. It takes about 5 seconds, all right, of your time. If you want to be, if you're feeling generous, feel free to donate to the channel. All donations go towards the channel, Venmo, Cash App, or if you want to, send a super chat, or if you want to become a member of the Robstar Report, you could become a member of the Robstar gang for $1, 99 cents, $2, $3, $4, $5. But that's at most. If you want to follow me, all my links are right there, or you can go into the description of this live stream and it'll take you to all my links. And also feel free to join the Discord. It is for free. You get to stay up to date with Panthers content, my content, and you also get to chat up among the Robstar gang. So other than that, guys, happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the chat. Thank you for everybody coming through and showing your support. I will see you guys on the other side. Don't forget, keep pounding. I'm out of here. Peace.